thing up. That's okay. We're live. I'm battling to myself. I'm Chloe.
We are live. All right. I'm Sandy. This is Word Stitch.
This is Word Stitch. We are in Night Right, which is the only Word Stitch that's happening right now. I apologize for being like this, but I'm dealing with stuff.
You're dealing with stuff. I'm not available on Mondays anymore, so totally sucks. But we're kind of mostly Wednesdays right now.
Yeah, like I want to be doing my shows, but also the other thing is that like I stopped doing my shows because of everything that was going on, and now I'm like, is it worth doing shows again if I might have to be just canceling them again? I don't know. So so I baked bread today and it came out well.
That's very good. My baby napped 3 times on schedule today, you guys.
Nice. I feel like that's a major accomplishment.
Oh, it's like huge. Huge. I couldn't get any writing done during those times yet because I am so behind on everything else, but still.
Right. But like, that's actually getting that stuff done. That is actually giving you the ability to then one day surpass catching up and get into moving forward.
Yeah, and I'm for sure going to have to be like super efficient now. Like it's going to have to be like every minute counts. Because every minute counts.
Yeah, because that's how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to make me a better writer or a worse writer. I feel like potentially better. We'll see.
Right. I've been having like a lot of feelings about my writing lately. Oh, I hate this app. I love this app, but also I have issues grabbing it and moving it where I want to. There we go. Just the clock app, the forest thing that I've been doing. That's all. I'm just complaining about that. Anyways, yeah, so like going back and working on an old project is what I'm doing right now. And that old project, like I was definitely a different writer then, and it was high fantasy, which is like problematic in its own right. And I was dumb at the time that I wrote it. I wrote this thing in 2017, 2018 before I ever like got on the publishing train. So I wrote it twice because the first draft I wrote like 70,000 words and was like a quarter of the way through the plot.
I remember that.
Kind of. I go back to the second, or I go back and start it over. And when I do that, I'm having issues with this. I'm just going to use the regular clock because I'm having issues with the forest right now. Anyway, so, oh God, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I went back and rewrote it, but also there was a big section of it that I was like, I really like how I wrote it originally, and it's like a big action scene. It's a huge section of that 70,000 words, but I feel like I'm going to be better off chopping that down than attempting to completely rewrite it.
Because it's only one action scene, so you could basically probably take out a lot.
No. It's like a whole section. Like it's high fantasy, so they're traveling.
Got it.
So like their first location is the Evermore Drop, and then there's the Ravi-Show Baz, and then there's Splitsville, and then there's traveling to Enderby, and then there's Enderby. It is all of Ravi-Show Baz that I was like, I'm just gonna save all this. The second half of it is escaping Ravi-Show Baz, which is a disaster, as high fantasy tends to be when you're trying to move from one place to another. But I said, okay, I'm going to save this because I hate writing these action things. And now it is 2021 and I do publish and I do have a schedule and I have forgotten a lot of this story. And I really regret that decision now. Because like all of those continuity errors that I do everything in my power to avoid, I am just slapping myself in the face with. And like I've already done 2 edits to get out. There's so much trash in it. I made everything more complicated than it needed to be. So like this is the one where instead of magic, it's called worth. And like they have familiars, but they're called marrows. And like, and you know, these are characters that are originally from Earth and living in this other place, but they call Earth the baseline. And like,
you created the whole world, and now you don't remember the world you created.
So thankfully, I remember all of that, except I have no idea where marrow came from for familiars, because also there is there's some conlang in it. The conlang is really easy, though, because it's basically just English that has progressed another 1,000 years. So it's all English based. So the conlang is pretty easy for me to figure out. I have no idea where marrow came from, though. Like bone marrow, it turns out that I didn't have nearly as many notes saved as I thought I did.
Nice.
Yeah. So this project, but it's okay because I've been having issues writing, and this is editing, and I can sink myself into editing, and we need to do that now. Yes. So okay. We will do 10, and then we will see what we do from there. So we'll see you guys at 17 past. I don't know why that mouse cursor is just sitting there. It doesn't actually exist. I apologize. Okay, that is time. Sandy, did you get any work done?
So apparently it was like 86 degrees in the baby's room. So I closed a bunch of windows.
Yeah.
And also I had a cough before this and meant to figure out how to resolve it, but have not yet because I spent all that time running around opening windows. How about you?
I didn't get anything done either because I was fighting with a program. I was putting together, just accept this, I was putting together a TikTok right before we went live on the show. And I was like, oh, in this 10 minutes, I will just, this is a good time to upload that TikTok before I get actual work done. And unfortunately, the program that I use to upload TikToks is BlueStacks, which is the app that was just like crashing on me trying to get the Forest app running. It's a phone emulator. So it's just also crashing for TikTok as it was for the Forest app.
I'm not hip enough to do any of these apps, but
it's okay.
I hope that you are able to figure out your app.
It ended up being a 5-minute video, so I really don't want to have to upload it back onto my phone in order to get it on TikTok. I would rather go directly from my computer to TikTok because it's a huge file. And I certainly didn't bother to do any sort of compression with it because I didn't think I was going to have to send it back to my phone. Yeah. So that's what I did not get done. So I'm going to fuss with this a little bit more while we are talking. And then when we go to the next sprint, I will absolutely give up on this forever. Oh, and I also texted my buddy Doyen about the issues that I had with my bread today. To see... I'm waiting to find out. He said that he has part of this problem every single time he tries to like do an artisan loaf at home. So I might not have messed up, but also I haven't actually gotten confirmation about whether it has made any difference what I messed up on for him.
I had like a whole stint during the pandemic when I did like sourdough bread and French bread and all that stuff. And with the exception of my chocolate babka, which actually turned out really fantastic.
I love babka. Just putting it out there. Also, this is really weird, but Publix has a mango babka that is basically like mango fruit leather.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Crazy. It is delicious.
Is it
huh?
It's good?
Yes. I mean, if you like mango fruit, like dried mango, not like the fruit roll-up stuff, but like actual dried mango. Like it's
in your babka?
No, like that is what the babka is. It's crazy.
Oh.
Like when you eat it, you feel very much like you are eating that because it's kind of a tougher bread.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely still bread, but at the same time, it's dried mango. It's seasonal. It's like 1 month in the summer that you can get it, but it is like one of my favorite dang things from that bakery.
Babka was like a discovery for me this year. I wouldn't have known how to do brioche bread. And babka was amazing and a great first start. But okay, so my sourdough bread and my French loaf.
Really quickly, according to Doyen, I would have had the problem I had whether I scored it or not. So woo. Okay.
Yeah. So what I was wondering, since you have a bread expert, my sourdough bread was consistently too hard on the bottom. Like I never had a pan that was hot enough, and so I always had this like really thick outside crust. But I could never get like a thin crust.
Are you using a stone, a pizza stone, or a bread stone? I think they are the exact same thing.
I was using a Dutch oven.
Oh, I have no idea when you're in that scenario. Although I feel like so you are taking a Dutch oven and putting it into the oven, yeah, right? Exactly. And the Dutch oven is ceramic?
Cast iron.
cast iron. So I wonder. I wish Haley was here because she would probably have really makes the ever living crap out of sourdough. So next time she is around, we will ask her. And it's just because this is a great big scenario for me to try to text that to Doyen. Otherwise, I would ask him. Or if I see Chris again sometime soon, maybe I'll ask him. But anyways, I am wondering, because you said it is an issue with the bottom of it, if putting that Dutch oven onto a pizza stone would still help with that.
Interesting. Because it's like I always felt like I could just never get the oven quite hot enough. Like if I could just have gotten it hot enough, then I would have been able to cook it, bake it properly. But
yeah.
Anyways, what was the issue that you were having with your bread? This is totally not writedly related.
But it wasn't rising. Hold on. Okay. I'll show you. Look at the potato.
That is chonk. If you're wondering, that like fluffy potato right there. Chonk. Hey Chonk. Here, kitty. Did you respond to anything there? No? Kitty?
So basically
your cat doesn't want to talk to me.
I made biscotti.
Oh, that's what my French loaf ended up looking like.
Yes. And apparently this is just an always issue when you're making rustic loaves. That if you are not baking in a pan, this is what happens. And I'm not sure. I guess this is another question for me to throw at Doyen. Actually, I think I do already know the answer to this. I do think that every loaf of bread can go into a bread pan. Because I know that there are several at Publix that we occasionally threw into bread pans. Most of our loaves we did not do in bread pans, but we did have a couple that if you asked for it, like challah. I know challah, if you asked for that to be baked in a strap pan is a loaf. It's a type of loaf pan. We could do that, and it wasn't a problem for it. So I think I can just literally throw this into a proper bread pan next time and get it to be shaped properly.
Interesting. I never tried it. I didn't like the texture of my French bread enough to do it again.
Right. For me, it's all about flavor. So this one, you probably can't see it because I grabbed the wrong one, but this is a roasted garlic loaf.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and the other one is a rosemary pine nut, which I did because I'm sitting on a ridiculous amount of pine nuts. I was going through my patty and baking supplies, and for some reason I had 3 bags of pine nuts that all expired in 2018, but they're nuts. So I don't really think they ever actually expire. So
they only expire if they go rancid.
Oh, right, exactly. There was one bag that had a couple of questionable ones in it, so I was like, I'm going to get rid of you, but these other 2, one of the bags was still sealed. So yeah, I did a rosemary pine nut just to use some of the pine nuts, and then you can literally only taste the rosemary in it, but that's okay, because I like rosemary better than pine nuts anyways. Let's go ahead and do another sprint, though, then I can run this loaf of bread back, and then hopefully work on one of the projects that I need to work on. So we are going to go for 20 minutes this time. We'll just do 20 tonight. We'll see where that takes us. If I can find the right button. There we go. We'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Okay, that is time. Were you able to get work done, Sandy?
Sort of. I ended up down like a massive rabbit hole. I have a plot problem I need to solve.
Okay.
You'll appreciate this. I need to come up with the origin of magic on the planet that I'm like working on. Yeah, and I have like a whole system of like thermodynamic and aerodynamic and telekinetic type stuff, and it's all like energy related. So my intent was to be like kind of sciencey about it. So I need a science explanation, right? Like I need something sciencey, but my science is rusty enough that like when I started looking into this, it was like, well, okay, so clearly this needs to relate to light. Oh shoot, I don't understand anything that I'm reading in this particular article. So obviously I need to take like a physics class again. But which physics class? Probably thermodynamics. But I don't think I'm going to understand thermodynamics if I haven't taken like
you
basic
cannot
physics.
take thermodynamics.
I mean, and this is frustrating because I AP'd physics. I did well. I like walked into college with all my science classes and math classes taken because I'd done them all in high school, which was over 20 years ago.
I'm just going to put it out there. There is a thermodynamics for dummies book.
Is there?
There is. It is $13 on Kindle, it looks like.
See, I'm concerned though that I'm going to like read that and then feel that I need something more mysterious. So like all of this has led me to
Do you remember what happened with me in the last couple of weeks with my sci-fi romance? Don't do what I did.
I'm literally looking at algebra workbooks on Amazon right now because like what I don't remember a lot of that stuff. I mean, like I know I was capable of it at some point, but that was like 8th grade. We're it's been a real long time since AP calculus. Like really long. Which makes me think, well, God, I should totally just go back and get a degree in math. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. That's where my brain just went.
This time last year, I was trying to figure out how to go back to get a master's in applied statistics with only a bachelor's. Like I didn't have the credentials for it, but I was like, I can do this. I've literally never taken a statistics class, but I've also tutored 3 different people on statistics.
Yes.
Where like they handed me the textbook and I flipped back to the glossary to find out what all of the letters stood for and then was like, okay, here's what's happening. But yeah, no, I mean the story that I'm working on now, I also have a magic system that I had like massive development for, but I used the humors and built it off of that. I think it's Plato's humors. And used that as the basis for my system. And I didn't actually put anything into science. I just said that it is an intake and outtake, an intake and or outtake of air and water. And it just depended on how you use those 2 elements, what type of magic you would produce from it.
I need to come up with something like this, something easy.
Yeah, and then because of it, I was able to say these are the 4 quadrants that their magics exist in, which automatically built parameters for them and meant that like to do different tasks, they would have to work together to do it. Like one of my characters has a bag that has infinite space and it's a tiny bag that she can put anything into. And also like she can put her cat into it. Like, yeah, because like the story begins with her jumping off of a cliff. And she can survive the fall, but the cat would not be able to. So she puts the cat in the bag.
As she's falling.
Well, before she jumps, she's like, come on. Also, when I say cat, I mean tiger. But So she has Charles, her tiger, get into it's literally like a bag. Like the way that I explained it, she opens it all the way up. It's like a little, one of the little round satchels that it's just pulled tight with strings. So she literally just opens it enough that he can put like one paw in it. But yeah, so to make that, I figured that it had to be a suspension of both space and time, because if time wasn't suspended, then poor Charles. So in order for this item to be made, therefore, it's a combination of two magics. And doing this really simplified things greatly. And if you want to steal any of this, feel free to. I don't have any. I'm not somebody who cares about that.
What I am thinking right now is that definitely I need to do something simple because, like, wow, how stressed are we both that we're like talking about systems of magic and like how stressed do you have to be to go back to high fantasy? Because I feel like for me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, life must be like really difficult if you're like I'm going back to this too.
Yeah.
When I look up the Amazon algebra books, I'm pretty sure I already have one of these. Like, I think it's upstairs in a box next to my like calculus book that I bought 20 years ago, potentially.
I can't stress enough that right now I am also building a glossary of a conlang. So that is the level I'm at. So yeah. But I did find out that yes, I can absolutely toss that dough into a bread pan, a loaf pan, and be fun. It was funny because Doyen just said that. Like, I didn't ask him, oh my God, wow, are we getting hit by two spams at once?
Wow.
That's incredible.
It's the same spam.
Oh gosh. I'm just gonna leave that there for now. I'll deal with it in a second, but that is crazy timing that they both hit at once. That is what Twitch spam literally always is. I don't understand why. It's always from that same bigfollows.com. I don't know why they have their shit so poorly together right now that they send it from two different accounts at the same time. I'll deal with that in a second though. But anyways, I just was like talking about how flat it was. And he said, well, you can put more gluten into it, or you can just toss it in a bread pan. And I was like, oh my God, here we are. Definitely. So let's see if he answered my questions. Okay. So you would not need a stone, and it would not affect bake time to do that, to put it in a bread pan instead. He says you can still tap the bottom of the pan for a hollow sound. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I forgot what like causes hollow sounds. I realize commenting that sounds, but like I forgot that even through a bread pan it would still be hollow, you know?
Yeah.
That's right. Anyways, let's do our next sprint and then we will continue this whole what are we doing with our lives? Okay, so we're gonna go for 20 again. It is 8:55, so we'll be back at 9:15. Oh, whoops. There we go. Sorry, just finishing up that scene there. How did you do?
I made progress. I mean, I'm sort of outlining right now because I feel like that's what I need to do to like actually write. I'm in like serious writing mode right now. Like
That's
actual
good.
stuff has to happen. So real organization and thought needs to go into things. What about you?
I finished up that scene and I'm making up a whole list of things that needed to be mentioned in the beginning that were not. I don't know. This is just, it's going to take a few passes before I have anything ready to go online. And, of course, it's difficult to do several passes back to back, but that's what's going to have to happen here. So hopefully I get through. My plan is to get through the content that is already written and then go back and fix what still needs to be fixed from it, and then finish what hasn't been written yet. And hopefully that pace will do okay. Hopefully once I'm past this section, it will go faster as well.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of surgery at the beginning.
I get that. I'm so, my cover that I have to do, that's happening the first week of June. So, yeah, right. So there's no possible way that I will have everything written, which means I am going to triage mode. Like I need to have both the third book, which is not yet drafted, and the fourth one, which isn't even fully formed in my head in any way whatsoever. At least outline, yes. Right? Like so there will have to be a plan going forward. So that's my goal. I need to outline enough to be able to write a blurb and create a title for the next book. But then so question for you. Do you know when? So that that kind of gives me a lot of freedom, right? Because in like triage mode, like I don't have enough time to actually write a full book right now. Yeah. So that means that like these books are for sure going to be later than I expected them to be. So, yeah. Like, okay. So after I get that outline done, then I'm very free in terms of what I can choose to do next, right? So I'm thinking about focusing on Vela. But I'm wondering, do you have any idea when Vela is starting? Like when is
No, they still don't have a date for that, but they did just send me another email with no new information in it. But again, that reminder that there is going to be some sort of bonus if you have content up already.
Yeah, see, I've been thinking about that, and I feel like given my total inability to completely draft a book right now, like maybe I should really seriously consider like an ongoing story that I could do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like maybe this is the time to real seriously triage the whole like fantasy thing and get going on the Vela thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you suppose they're thinking, a year, a month, a week?
Oh, they are saying in the next few months. And I believe from them, I saw a reference to summer. That might be wrong. Oh, shit. Sorry, I just pulled up. Let's pull up an email. You know those moments where you go to click on something and just as you click on it, it like bounces and something else appears there? That just happened. I do have tickets to Ren Fair. They're actually last year's tickets. That obviously Ren Fair was canceled last year. I don't think I would go this year if that wasn't already a thing. I am fully vaccinated now, but I probably still won't risk it. But I already have the tickets, so I'm doing it. Anyways, okay. So let me see. Was that sound from you, or did I just have a weird echo?
I think it might be a weird echo.
No.
Any sounds.
So what it says on those two topics is you'll earn 50% of what readers spend on the tokens that are used to unlock your story's episode. You'll also be eligible for a launch bonus based on customer activity and engagement. And then readers will have access to Kindle Vella stories in the next few months. So make sure your story is ready and waiting.
I think I got this email. So I'm looking at something.
It was yesterday or the day before.
All right. They are not doing a good job explaining this, are they? It is very.
No, it's literally, they keep sending the exact same content. And like where I'm getting a bit stressed about it is I need to get art for this. And like what I want for the art is, it's either trickier than I'm capable of doing, or it's going to take buying a lot more photographs than I am willing to spend money on for it. Because like I'll have to do either I'll have to do like hand draw, or I'll have to do a composite of like 4 different images.
Wait. That's a cover or for your icon?
For the cover art icon thing.
Huh.
For like what I want for it, it's just going to be trickier than I'm used to doing for book covers.
Interesting.
And also I have to redo another cover for Abe's summer vacation because the cover I have is real dumb right now. So that's 2 more things that I have going on this coming month.
I think this is so interesting, this whole like token thing. I wonder if this will catch on. Like I wonder if people will even understand what exactly it is.
It's already the model that's being used for several other places. So
but like nobody I know knows what radish is. My mom has no clue what radish is.
So that is an extremely good point. That actually leads to another thing, though. Is that this is not for your mother. This is for millennials, Gen Z.
You think so?
Yes. This is a model. This is people who cut their teeth on Wattpad. This is a model that they know well. It's also a very popular model in Asia. And of course, when we're looking at Gen Z into the younger side, and I guess even more closer to our age and millennials, Asian culture is very popular. So it's something that people older than us, Gen X absolutely has no effing clue what this is. Certainly boomers have no effing clue what this is. This is for people who are younger than us. Now, will it trickle into the older demographics? Probably. Now that Amazon is going into it, probably, but from the get-go, it's going to be like
mostly, yeah,
18 to 35.
I mean, which is part of the reason I'm thinking about focusing on this, right? Because I cut my teeth on fanfiction.net. So like,
yeah,
arguably this is like the kind of thing that's meant for somebody like me who likes that kind of writing and responds well to like hand claps and favorites.
Right. And also presumably you are comfortable with the episodic model.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like writing myself out of a problem. It's fun. But I should do the Christmas story that I was doing on Wattpad. I should throw that on here as well. Yeah. I was totally thinking about that. I feel like this is the time for it.
Yeah.
And actually, like, does stuff have to be like exclusive to Kindle? We should both take our Christmas stories off Wattpad if they're still there.
This is also a weird thing. It's confusing. It sounds like you cannot be selling it as an entire book somewhere else. But if you are posting it on something else that has a paywall in this fashion, like medium, it is okay. That doesn't make any sense to me, though. So I am going to treat this as KDP, and it must be exclusive. Like, that is just how I am going at it, because it was kind of confusing how they explained it.
Yeah, too dangerous to do anything else. So okay, so here's another thing that I find interesting about this, because I'm looking at this page. The royalties. So it appears that the royalties depend on whether the user purchased their tokens in a 200 token bundle, a 525 token bundle. How on earth is Amazon going to keep track of that? Like,
that is nothing for them to keep track of, because you buy the tokens and then you redeem them. So it's just whatever price you set for them, they do. But also keep in mind that, like, if you're in Kindle Unlimited, then you actually have a different exchange, or you have a different rate depending on where your reader is. Like, we know the US, I think in the US right now, it's like 0.42 cents per page read, but other countries have different conversion values. US is like, my reads from Australia are like half of what I get from the US market. And unfortunately, I do a lot in Australia and in England, and both of them I make less money in.
Whoa, something is going wrong in my infant's life. I think I need to go figure it out.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start another sprint then.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Was the baby disaster okay?
Yeah. Remember, like way early on, I mentioned that like the room was 86 degrees, so I like ran around like closing windows and turning on air conditioning. So now the room is like 75 degrees, which is a whole 10-degree drop. And he's cold. So yeah. But I also actually got some work done, so I'm pleased with that. Yeah. What about you?
I removed an entire scene, but then had to like read that scene to fill it, like, you know, to make the next scene flow in from the last scene. But funny thing, that scene that I removed had a section of it that was like, stop writing this. This is what needs to happen. Come back to this later. So like I am trying to fix a story that I cut out, that I did not write a whole section of because I told myself to go back to a previous version of the story. And in that previous version of the story, there is also a hole.
That's funny. That's funny.
I feel like I wrote this, but I guess not. I don't know.
Maybe you'll find it somewhere. Maybe it's like in an email or something.
Right. Probably. My luck. But anyway, so I did that. Oh my God, look at him. And I had some ice cream because I make poor life choices.
He looks so forlorn.
I know, he's just sleeping. He does though. He just does. It's not even a trick of the camera. He just does. What were we talking about? I felt like we had a
Vela. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We were on Vela again.
Yeah. Yeah. We were on sort of the token thing and like trying to understand. Mm-hmm. So it was because I mean it really is a little bit confusing. Like so if you're a reader, you can buy bundles of tokens. The more tokens you buy, the cheaper they are. Yeah. But so then tokens are not created equal for authors. No. So just to like presumably Amazon is using this sort of like volume discount to try to get people to do the tokens, and they're sort of expecting us to volume discount with them. But what's not clear is if like a reader buys a larger amount of tokens and they're volume discounting, does that mean that they can like have to use those tokens on just your story? Or does that mean they can spread those tokens out?
No, you would just buy tokens and use them however you want to.
So that's it's kind of messed up that Amazon is like passing that on to the authors.
I mean, I see where you're saying that, but also this is kind of every single model does this for every single place that I get royalties from. Medium, I can't even guess. Like Medium, you're paid by the minute that your story is read, but those minutes are calculated at the end of the day, and the amount that you make per minute is calculated at the end of the day based on how much everybody read that day. And how much your readers specifically read that day, if I understand it correctly.
But I feel like that's a little bit more fair, right? So like if your readers are reading a lot, then presumably you're getting paid
less.
Yeah.
Per minute.
Because so this is based on a membership fee. Oh yeah, that's a little bit messed up too.
Yeah, so we could both have our stories read we could both have 10-minute stories up and have one person, a different person, but one person read our 10-minute stories, and I get paid 10 cents and you get paid 30 cents. Because of what my reader did versus what your reader did.
So like if my reader only read my story versus if your reader read your story and like 3 others.
Yeah.
So, which is really weird though, right? Because this is sort of like,
I don't understand how it works, because like most days I read absolutely nothing on Medium. So in the days that I do read something on Medium, is somebody making like a ridiculous amount of money off of me because I haven't read Medium in like a month? I don't know. But again, like this is also, I mean, like I said before, this is part of the Kindle Unlimited thing, which I find is weird that they do it with Kindle Unlimited as well.
wait, they do this with Kindle Unlimited? I
Well,
thought
this is
Kindle
what I was
Unlimited
saying
was
before
just...
about depending on where you are, the rate is different. So my British readers, I get paid a different amount, and my Australian readers, I get paid a different amount. My Canadian readers.
I feel like so that I can understand, because I feel like that could be, I mean, one, it could be Amazon sort of like dividing up like funds based on like accounting systems, right? Like their British readers might be paying into a totally different account.
I'm 100% sure that is what's happening.
But it's also a much larger pool. Like to say like all your British readers, right, are getting if they read your Kindle Unlimited stories, then you're getting paid a different rate for those readers than for your American readers, than from your Canadian readers. Like, yes, it's different, but there's only really like 20 of those groups. Medium, it sounds like, could have...
In fairness, though, when you say that, there are also only 3 levels for what people can be paying for their tokens.
Yes. That's true. That's true. So I guess,
and I mean, I definitely see like major impacts from it on Kindle Unlimited, where I'll have days where I'll have like one book gets 1,000 page reads and the other book gets 2,000 page reads, and I'll make the same amount of money off of them depending on where they are. Like, it is crazy how big these discrepancies can come from it.
I'm trying to even like wrap my mind around it, because I feel like it's a little bit like you have, I don't know, you have like 4 readers, right? And like one of them bought their tokens with pennies, and one of them bought their tokens with quarters. And like the person who bought their tokens with quarters, if they read your story, then you get paid. Well, my analogy isn't quite working, right? But it's...
No, I know what you're saying. And I guess like the best thing to say at the end of the day is you agreed to it. This is the system that you...
Oh, yeah.
You don't have the... You have the choice of not writing for Vella.
Yeah, no, I don't. And I mean, that's a totally different point. Like, I'm confused a little. Like, I don't quite understand. And no, that's not right. I understand. What my mind isn't liking is like, there's part of me going, how on earth is Amazon keeping track of this? And how is this like helpful for them? But like for me, or for you, or for probably anybody, I mean, you're totally right. Like, you agreed to it. And I think we've both kind of looked at this as like, you could get paid potentially more on Vella.
Yeah.
For
if it has been worked out, and I don't remember what the number actually is, where when you do algebra on it and compare Kindle Unlimited to Vella, but it's something like, if I remember correctly, if it's like 80,000 words on a book that is in Kindle Unlimited versus 80,000 words on Vella paid for with the most expensive tokens, you make double on Vella what you would make on Kindle Unlimited.
And I also like, I think this really appeals to me in the sense that like, I feel like Amazon is really understanding the market. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that this is them looking at the market and going, like, people are reading ebooks, they're reading stuff online. Like, the vast majority of what we read on like our cell phones, almost for sure, right?
Yep.
So yes, there are still people who pick up like paper copy books, but there's probably more people who just generally, of all the stuff they read all day long, I mean, you're reading more articles on your phone than you're reading anywhere else. So this is a little bit like Amazon being like, well, why aren't we just, passing articles to people. Like, and why aren't we making this like easy for them? Like, why aren't we saying, oh, you want like, you know, something light and simple today? Why don't you read an episode of your favorite serial novel?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like see what's happening with those characters today. Quick and simple on your phone, like potentially Alexa reads it to you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know? And like you said, millennials and Gen Zers are totally comfortable with this. Mm-hmm. And I mean, people like me have been reading fan fiction for years. I'm fine with this. It feels okay, like no problem. In fact, it appeals to my attention span, right? Like the commitment is lower.
And it's like, it's funny because I've been in a bunch of debates about this thing now, and I'm definitely like pro-Vela. Like, I am going to try it. I'm going to see what happens. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are vehemently against Vela. And I've definitely had several people who are like, do you think this is a good business model? And every single time I'm like, no, actually, I think it's a terrible one. The time that I looked into Radish, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is a good model, so I'm not going to do it. But you know what? If Amazon thinks it's a good model, my degrees are not in business. I don't touch business. I am not a marketing expert. I am not somebody who does particularly well at making money at all. If Amazon thinks this is worth putting their money into, I'm gonna see where it goes. I also there's no, oh God, what is the correct term for this? This is a very obvious term for it, but there's no, you're not gonna lose anything by doing it. What is the term?
No risk?
What was that?
There's no risk?
Yeah, there's zero
downside? Yeah.
There's no mostly because there's a slightly better term for it. It's okay, it doesn't matter. But if you write this and it fails and you don't make any money off of it, they don't own your story. Amazon does not own stories. They never have. I think that they do have their like publishing house now where they probably do own those, but you know, if you are an indie author and you have not signed any contracts with Amazon, they do not own your story. You own your story. I don't even think you've got a contract in the sense that you do with KDP, where you have to, or with Kindle Unlimited, where you have to leave it there for, is it 90 days? Is that how often that renews? Yeah. So if this doesn't work out and you're not making the money that you want off of it and you think it's a big flop, you don't have to be like, oh no, I have wasted all this time on this story. You just fucking publish that story. You just take it out of Vela and you fucking publish it. So there's zero risk here. I'm not, the worst thing that's going to happen is the book is going to come out later than it would have if I had just published it right off the bat.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as like a business model goes, it's very fascinating that Amazon is doing this. Like, I don't have an argument against this or for it. I'm with you. I'm going to try it because I think I think if Amazon thinks it's a good idea, then who am I to say that it's not? Especially when it fits stuff that I've done, right? But like, if you think about this from their perspective, like someone sitting in a boardroom went, you know, there are all these people who want to write their stories out there. And that's basically a free product for Amazon to sell, right? Like Amazon puts zero manufacturing costs into our stories. They set up a system like this, you know, like they set up sort of a distribution method. Mm-hmm. That's their product, is just the distribution. And then they say to us, the content creators, hey, you want to sell your content this way? And then they make money off of us, and we potentially make money from that. I mean, it's really interesting. I think this is also an interesting response to like the problem that libraries are having right now. Like, I'm actually kind of anti-library these days. Like I know that sounds terrible, but I want
to know where you're going with this, because I'm wondering if it's an argument that I've had recently.
Well, I'm not against libraries for people who can't afford books. Like, your 10-year-old kid who like cannot afford a book needs to be able to go somewhere and get a book. But for like romance stories and serialized genre fiction and the kind of stuff that we write, right? That like people devour, like, Insta content on their phones. That's not good library content, because it doesn't teach anybody to read. It's just pure entertainment, right? And like when you give it to a library, then you're sort of saying like, here's my content that I created to entertain you. Please give it away for free to everybody. Which is, I mean, we're not doing literature, right? We're doing...
Yeah.
It's not the same. And Vella's interesting.
Funny, because I am not against libraries. I'm not against that system at all. 100% agree with your perspective, but like, again, like none of my books are ever going to end up in a library anyway. So, well. But like, if I was able to like get myself onto a library app, I'd probably be over the moon about it for like the free publicity, and hopefully somebody will see my book and like buy my books. I don't know. It is what it is. But the other day, somebody was flipping out about, how with Amazon, people can return your books. They can read it and return it. And people were flipping out about this. And I made a comparison to the library, and people lost their ever-loving shit on me for having the audacity to compare people taking books from Amazon and returning them to the sanctity of the library.
I mean, it's pretty similar.
Like, hey, Courtney, thank you so much for popping in. We are literally just like chatting at this point. We're done with the show. We're just chatting about Vella, but
and libraries.
Now we have moved on to the library system, but like, I get that it is a skeezy thing to do. And I get that there is a difference in the mindset between somebody going to the library who thinks they are doing absolutely the right thing and somebody who is literally taking books on Amazon and reading them and then returning them and getting their money back, who clearly know that they are doing a bad thing. Like, I get that these are two different people doing it, but at the end of the day, it has the same effect on us. And somebody in that argument had the audacity to say, well, you don't know what it's like when you make like thousands of dollars a month and then like hundreds of dollars gets returned, because that's hundreds of dollars taken out of your pocket. Like, if you have a problem where this is eating more, or like, I don't remember how she said it, but like, basically like, I'm a bestseller and people return hundreds of my books a month. Like, is this more than like 1% of your royalties? Because I doubt it is. And therefore, even if it is $1,000 worth of books, if you are making $100,000 and you are complaining about this $1,000 that's being returned, no.
See, I don't know. Like, I'm really torn about this, because I agree with you. The effect is completely the same. I mean,
yeah.
And it doesn't matter if like it's kind of the skeezy person who returns something. Like, I mean, I know a ton of people who talk about libraries, like getting books from the library, as if they're getting like, as if they're cheating the system. It's, well, I'm gonna get it from the library. I'm not gonna pay for it. Right?
Yeah. And like, I will say I'm kind of one of them, but very specific situation. I refuse to give J.R. Ward money.
But that's kind of the problem, right? Like,
so, it is not one author, though. I very rarely use the library. Also, I will say the other side of that is that her books are like $17.
Another reason that Vella is potentially good, right? Like because I or Kindle Unlimited, like I don't think people understand. I think like the bestseller argument, it kind of goes flat, right? Because like you said, it sort of feels like somebody whining about like free publicity, but the truth is that person does have a point in that as we move towards like more and more and more and more digital content, it harms more and more and more authors if their stuff gets returned. And like for you and I, who like don't have best-selling novels yet, like if we start developing any following and like any percentage of our people are returning books, or that's like a commonplace thing, then I mean that could hurt us.
I get about one return a month. I get returns. I absolutely get returns. I get about one a month, but I get returns. And
I don't make enough sales to get returns. I have no idea if I get returns. But I
am at the point where I'm getting enough sales. It's kind of like awesome. It's a milestone.
I think that it's potential. But actually, I'm less concerned about returns for us than I am about the library. Like and
that's it. Like, and they are using the argument that like only one person can have the book at a time. And I'm like, but how many, again, how many people are returning your book a month? If you compared the volume that you churn out from Amazon versus what's in a library, is this actually a bigger hit than what's happening at the library?
Oh, almost for sure not. And the library is a way bigger problem.
You say that it's one person having your book at a time, but if you're in a library, are you in one library or are you in hundreds of libraries?
Oh, and nowadays when you're doing ebooks and you're on Overdrive, you're in everybody's library.
Yeah.
I totally...
The J.R. Ward books, some of them will have like 10 copies just in... I don't know how big my system is, but my system might just be Cobb County. There are 10 people at any given time that can have her book, and that book gets passed on every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how you
I mean, it's a significant amount of revenue that she's not getting. Now, it is publicity for now, right? But like,
so is that the people who take your book and return it.
So are the people. I think you have a point that it's a different kind of person, right? Like somebody who goes to the library believes they have moral high ground. Like they see the library as a public service, and they don't realize that like when they take a book from the library, instead of like supporting anything, I mean, if you want to support the library, donate to the library, right? Like you're not actually supporting it by showing up and taking books. That's just you taking advantage of the library. It's two very different things. But like but you still believe you have the moral high ground, right? When you're a library person, because you've been taught that libraries are good, libraries support reading is important, and so therefore we should all be allowed to have books. Should be free. Books should be free for everyone. Okay, but if you're the Amazon person, then you don't have moral high ground, right?
You know you're scamming the system.
Yeah, you know you're scamming the system. So it's the same thing. But you, as the Amazon person, you're saying to yourself, books should be free, so I'm going to buy this book and return it.
Yes. So like it is definitely different people doing it, but also it's at the end of the day, the impact is exactly the same on the writer.
It's pretty similar,
And another thing about me only doing this to J.R. Ward, I never fucking shut up about her.
No, you don't. And
getting her publicity from me.
I mean, that's a really good point, right? Like, I don't ever get books from the library. Because I'm kind of anti-library these days, right?
Yeah.
Especially with stuff like that. If we were talking about, I don't know, an extremely literary book that everyone should read for the sake of their, I don't know, of the country or something.
For me, it's like 40-year-old quilting manuals. That tends to be what I go to the library for.
Yeah, which is another totally fair kind of reference books. Like, I mean, that kind of stuff is very, libraries are great for lots of things, but for your J.R. Ward book, like, I'm in favor of buying the books. But okay, so you don't ever buy a J.R. Ward book, but you introduce them to me, and I only buy them.
Exactly.
So,
and there are some authors I do also. So I'll say this is like the kindest way to possibly do this, and so I realize that it's it's weird that I do this. So like it's partially shady, but also in the long run, it's not. Most of the time, if I'm able to get a first book in the series from the library, I will do that. And then if I do like that book, then I will buy other books from that author. So like the first couple of books from Laura Sione, I did not buy. I got from the library. In fact, I think I illegally downloaded one, and we're just going to go along with that. But I've now bought that book since then, and like so many more of her books. So I am frugal. I don't have a lot of money. If I do think that the book is worth the money, then I 100% pay for it. But I will absolutely just test authors in less than proper ways. But if I'm going to keep going with the author, I'll put so much money in that author that it pays for itself.
And I mean, that's the reason why as an author, you don't loudly say, I don't want my book in a library. Of course, you put your book in the library. And when you're like, friends in your book club talk about how proud they are of not having paid for a book, you try really hard not to be like, are you aware that you therefore did not pay the author? Like, I feel
like people don't understand that, at least in the United States, in most counties, authors only get royalty from that literally selling that one book that you're holding, and it's no more royalties than if it was bought from a bookstore.
I think it might be a little bit more. Like it might be like the library paid $10 for your book, whereas like the book, like if you'd have sold it any other way, you would have only gotten $3.99. So it's like 3 people bought one copy of your book. but it's still not.
It's probably how you go about it. Yes.
Yeah. But we're not talking substantial, and it's
no.
Yeah, I mean that's. But okay, so back to Vella though. So what I love then about Vella is that it's a little bit like it kind of deletes the whole library problem, right? Like it sort of says this story is never going to be a hardcover book. Mm-hmm. It is only for entertainment. You can get it cheap, and all you have to do is just pay tokens. So like for an author who wants to entertain and needs to get paid for entertaining and who isn't big enough to get publicity from libraries, it's a really interesting thing to do.
And what's neat for me, that it doesn't really have any impact on anything. It's just something that I've never experienced because of being self-published, and I probably never will experience outside of this. I've never been paid by the word.
Yeah.
And that's something new and different for me. It's still a little bit different. Oh my God. I was reached out about doing a sponsored, what is the correct, like a sponsored article or a collaborative article with a sex toy company.
Do it. Do it.
I don't know.
Why not?
I feel like this company does not understand how Medium works. I am going to talk to them about it. But I was like, how is this my life? How is this the first time that a product has ever reached out to me to ask me to fix it? And it's a damn vibrator.
You're writing erotica. Make sure that the company is like, not supporting non-consensual sex.
Oh, no. They actually were like, how is that? I'm going to read it. Let me pull it up. I'm going to read it.
Make sure they're a good company who creates good, solid, female-friendly sex toys.
Yes.
And then, I'm so proud of you for that. I'm a little jealous that I can never have that life.
This is Diane from Osuga. I don't know. It's all capitalized. Original sexual wellness brand. And I wanted to get in touch to see if you would be interested in being sponsored to write a post on Medium for us. I've been looking at, I wonder if this is getting posted on their thing. I'll go into that in a second. I've been looking at myerotica.com. I have read several of your articles. They show your positive attitude towards sexuality and intimacy. We would like you to create a post in your own style about our products, and we'll compensate you for the time you've taken to do this. My compensation is $178 worth of sex toys.
Wait, what?
And 20% commission off of sales going through like a discount link that would be on the article.
Oh, you should do it.
I just should. I should. And then beyond that, you have the creative freedom to do whatever you want. The only thing is that we require that we approve of the post and that you link it to their website. Our products are originally designed by women and for women. We got much positive feedback from our customers. If this sounds like something you would like to go forward with, let me know. Or if you have any other ideas as how you could partner with us, I'd love to hear them. So here's the thing, is that she says that she found me through My Erotica. And looking at the numbers, I would not be able to post this to My Erotica because My Erotica is their own brand. They're actually a part of a much larger, I believe it's a pornography company.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, and now yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it is what it is. I know that they do, like, photos, so, like, my stories that are with them have their photos on them. I don't know how far they go out. But so, like, you wouldn't be able to put another product on there because they probably have their own product line. But the story that I posted that got on My Erotica this week had 709 reads, whereas the story that I posted on my own feed the day before got 16 reads.
Oh, wow.
So being on My Erotica hits a huge audience by comparison, and I wouldn't be able to hit that audience with this.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes. And like by comparison, that story I've made $21 off of. And then again, the story from the day before, if you will stop bouncing, the story from the day before that, I made $1.11.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on this. I don't think you should support a pornography company, right? Obviously, like that is not, it's different than writing erotica, but assuming that the company
they just post my stuff on their thing and I get $21 off of the last one.
I can't think hard about that. This is one of the reasons I can't do erotica, right? It's why I
got $25 off of the previous one.
Yeah, no, I can't because the industry is just too. Well, let's not talk about the industry. That's a whole another conversation. But like, let's suppose they were a very woman-friendly company that was all about empowerment and never actually created abuse or sexual violence.
Yes.
If that were the case, then...
Oh, yeah, they have live cams.
Oh. Oh yeah, no, I'm anti this idea, but I mean,
this is not the sex toy company. This is My Erotica, who I'm already writing for.
Oh, okay. Let's pretend that it's called something else, so that I don't have to imagine you working for the porn industry.
Okay, well, the parent company is Met Art.
Is what?
Met Art.
Met Art.
Now, that is absolutely where the live cams are. We are like this other little... My Erotica is just a writing, but they are owned by Met Art, which is an umbrella. Yeah, but like, I feel like every company I've ever worked for in my life has like a dirty umbrella company above it, so I can't really... I'm not gonna look down on them for... giving me a platform. Anyway.
Yeah, but let's pretend that this was I don't know, a company that sold stories about dinosaurs. It was dinosaurs.com. And dinosaurs.com wanted you to write an article about the T-Rex because you've written such good stories about dinosaurs on their site. And they think that you could maybe help them sell their T-Rex toys. Then, and what you're saying is like, if it goes, like if that story ends up getting like read on dinosaur.com, then you don't really get anything for it, minus the free dinosaur toys. But if it gets
right, I probably will not get anything from it because I won't be able to put it on the site where I do get most of my money through.
But you
have to go on my own site.
Yeah. Well, it'll go on both, right? It's just that like you won't get paid.
No. You're combining two companies. The sex toy company is a different company than the company that my story is on the thing for.
You should
sex toy company saw my story on my erotica and said, "Hey, we like this story that we saw. Can you write a story about our product?"
Interesting.
Yeah, but I won't be able to put it on that site because they don't allow product stuff from other products. Yeah.
This is
it's like the weirdest.
I have to go and sleep and do things
related
to the baby.
This is the weirdest dilemma ever.
Yeah. Who's now in 73-degree weather. Oh, I hope he's got We put him in long sleeve pajamas. Poor little man. If you are with us, thanks for being with us. We hope you got some writing done. I feel like Night Write, I feel like I'm hijacking Night Write right now. Like I've ruined the Mondays by not being able to do them. And like I'm hijacking Night Write and just turning them into like more chat than writing.
I just need to get to be more productive again.
Maybe we should have like a progressive schedule on Wednesday nights. Like we should do our biggest sprint in the very beginning and just do like shorter ones throughout the evening as our energy.
We can play around with it. Yeah.
Because otherwise people showing up here are going to get like nothing done. And you'll know if you show up at 10:30, we could be talking about dinosaurs or my erotica.
Yes.
And if you show up at 8, then you could actually write.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a thing that we can do. So if you're with us, we're playing around with this. We're going to try to make this more productive.
We're going to make it better next time.
Yeah, we'll be because we get stuff done.
Right.
But I have to go. I'm assuming that are you going to stick around and do more writing?
No, I'm gonna go work on. I still have to get my short story of the day written, so I'm gonna go do that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You're gonna go do that. Okay.
Yep.
Well, so if I can, whenever I can, I'll try to do the Monday. Are we still doing Mondays? Are you doing Mondays right now?
I just didn't schedule anything this week except for this because that's where I am in life right now.
I think that's probably fair right now, and that we can, we should consider posting some like pre-made write-ins for Mondays for like our crowd who really enjoy like those, like a sort of like in our absence, please be productive kind of thing. But I don't have time to do it, and I bet you don't either. So.
No, that's okay. Anyway, we're gonna go.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.